Wait, did you really think Mama Jones would remain silent forever? If you did, you must not know who you're dealing with. After years of silence, the Harlem matriarch has finally come forward to reveal the whole, uncensored, and heartbreaking truth about what actually transpired between Chrissy Lampkin and Cam'ron and her son Jim Jones. We assure you that it's not just a messy situation. It's a full-blown scandal that is tinged with betrayal and served cold with a side dish. Of drama in Harlem. What happens when your best friend and your own partner work together against you instead of for you? Mama Jones is pointing fingers, destroying receipts, and describing everything as only she can. And the picture she's painting is not only chaotic but disastrous. We're talking about betrayal so profound that even reality TV couldn't have scripted it better. The real question is, was Jim Jones played from every angle by the two people he trusted? Is Mama Jones fabricating history to preserve her legacy? Now that the dust has barely settled and the internet is still reeling, let's pull back the curtain on one of the messiest, most explosive betrayals Love and Hip Hop has ever aired because Mama Jones didn't. Grab your popcorn and keep your eyes peeled because what you're about to hear is the most shocking, outrageous, and heartbreaking expose this family has ever faced. Simply spilling tea, she threw out the entire kettle with flames and all. And what she disclosed about Chrissy and Camron Chili was not only messy, it was nuclear. It all began when a mysterious Instagram Live appeared in the middle of the night, and guess who was in the spotlight? Mama Jones's eyes and blazing nails were tapping the table as if she was waiting for someone to flinch. There was no filter, no warning, just vibes and vengeance, and she appeared dead in the camera. And he added, "I kept quiet for years, but now I have to protect my son Chrissy and Camron. You all know what you all did." In order to comprehend how we got here, we must go back in time to before the betrayal, before the Instagram shade, before the silent meals, and before the off-camera blow-ups. Let's start with the time when Jim Jones, the Dipset legend, first began to lose control of all his makes money for his family. When Chrissy Lampkin began taking business calls behind closed doors, you may believe that ring she had been pleading for all those seasons came free. But in reality, he had a plan that didn't always include Jim. Then introduces Camron, Mr. Harlem Diplomats himself, who was first Jim's right hand and his blood brother in music. But eventually the loyalty snapped. Industry insiders believe that a dubious investment was the initial cause. According to some, it was about a botched label deal, but others speculate that it was much deeper and more personal. Mama Jones, on the other hand, was watching it all from the sidelines like a mother watching a slow car crash without brakes. But now she's getting out of the passenger seat and calling out everyone's names and receipts. Chrissy did more than just shattered Jim's. She deceived my son, shattered his empire, and broke my heart. Sources close to the family claim that while Jim was attempting to build, Cam was tearing everything down from the inside, sabotaging deals, leaking information to rivals, and pushing Chrissy to take control of the situation. Mama Jones claimed, in the leaked audio, which is currently being circulated like digital gold, that she turned him against his own people, against me, and against the truth. According to an anonymous source who claimed to have been a former member of Jim's management team, Cam was involved every time he missed a show and every time a deal fell through. He was causing chaos while grinning in his face. This may seem unbelievable, but in this business, snakes don't hiss. They shake hands. If you thought this was the end of it, then be prepared, because what Mama Jones implied next turned this minor drama into a complete conspiracy. She stated, and we quote, "They had a plan to set up my son who was targeted. Targeted as in what? Was robbed, backstabbed worse. Well, let's say the rabbit hole is deeper than we initially believed. There are rumors that money disappeared from Jones's accounts at least twice over the course of 3 years, and that the amounts don't match up with properties sold under dubious LLCs. You know who was listed on the paperwork? The twist with Chrissy, one of those LLCs, was purportedly linked to a shell corporation associated with Camron. Coincidence or planned disarray? Public records reveal several asset transactions from Jones's team to a Delaware-based mystery corporation that is well known for concealing ownership. Every transfer occurred immediately following one of Jim's court cases when he was most preoccupied, and Mama Jones attempted to caution him. The paperwork trail is hazy, but the time is perfect. She brought it up several times, but each time Chrissy allegedly told him, "Your mama is just jealous. She's either brilliant or bitter." The more you dig, the uglier it gets. By pretending to be Jim's ride or die, Chrissy allegedly played both sides and gave Cam inside information, which Cam used to outmaneuver Jim in the business by stealing deals, poaching artists, undercutting contracts, and kidnapping one XD pet. An associate who requested anonymity revealed that this camera was aware of Jim's every move, not because he was snooping, but rather because Chrissy was telling him everything. She was the mole, and let's not forget how Chrissy boasted, "I built this brand." Jim's rapping seems to be hinting at something, doesn't it? That's why Mama Jones eventually replied, "I've stayed silent long enough." Have faith. She was discussing years of manipulation, treachery, and sabotage, and the public devoured it. Social media was ablaze with hashtags like "Justice for Jim" and "Ostracy exposed," and Twitter went into full detective mode. Evidence of questionable travel was emerging in the form of threads. Together with Cam, Chrissy captured enigmatic text snippets and grainy images of their hotel meeting. Here, in the lobby, things become even more sinister. And here is where part 2 begins, because the receipts go beyond Instagram. There are bank statements and voice notes. According to one unnamed production assistant who worked on a love and hip-hop crossover, there was even a burner phone discovered in Jim's former studio because the genuine bombshell hadn't even been revealed yet. Behind the scenes, several insiders were already conversing. An episode that was never broadcast, Chrissy had a grudge. At that point, Mama Jones allegedly began to notice odd trends, like erased voicemails, unanswered calls from Camron, and cryptic texts on Jim's phone that sounded like coded threats, because it was no longer simply about love or devotion, but about war. According to a source close to Jim's label, Camron had covertly offered Jim a way out of Chrissy's grasp, but it came after. In order to control Jim's finances, Camron allegedly forced Chrissy to go behind his back. We're talking about personal bank accounts being redirected, back-end music royalties inadvertently being redirected to shell companies, and brand partnerships abruptly ending after tense arguments between Chrissy and his mother. Mama Jones realized something sinister was happening when Chrissy and his mother parted ways. As well as Jim's Group 1 especially dubious deal involving a vodka company. Jim was supposed to sign a 7-figure endorsement, but Chrissy allegedly had a side deal with a rival company. The whole thing was ruined when social media detectives noticed the inconsistencies. One Twitter user wrote, "Why is Chrissy always at meetings that aren't hers? Why is Jim losing deals while she is out here buying Birkin bags every week?" The Chrissy takes over at that point. The theory began to gain popularity, but it didn't stop there. Grainy but unmistakable leaked footage showed Camron and Chrissy allegedly having a private dinner before Chrissy angrily threw a phone onto the street, leaving Cam to smirk and sip his drink. Many conjectured that this was the time that Cam and Chrissy met, finalized their plans to cut Jim off from both Mama Jones and his own reality. According to a leaked text exchange from a family group chat, Chrissy said, "You need to stop letting your mom run your life. She's why your career stays stuck." Chrissy was allegedly portraying Mama Jones, the spiritual center of Jim's world, as toxic and controlling in private. The internet went down after that message, but Camron, "I'm not going to let Chrissy and Cam tear my son apart. I built this family from nothing. I watched him," Mama Jones said in a voice note leaked from a private conversation, exposing the Puppet Master's suspected character assassination. The Puppet Master allegedly began spreading rumors to media blogs about Jim's deteriorating mental health, including his alleged paranoia and emotional instability. Struggle and endure, and now they wish to ruin that without my knowledge. As if the drama couldn't get any messier, however, financial records purportedly leaked by a whistleblower from Jim's inner circle revealed that more than $250,000 had vanished from one of Jim's personal accounts, which Mama Jones had established years prior to support his future children and legacy investments. The worst part was that Chrissy was named as an authorized access partner, and someone with the initials CG, yes, that's Cameron Giles, began to speculate about a covert account laundering scheme involving phony investment companies, cryptocurrency, wallet transfers, and hush money paid to former love and hip-hop producers who knew too much. Mama Jones allegedly contacted a private company after witnessing her son's downward spiral. Investigator, an individual with connections to the music industry's legal scene and VH1. What he discovered was even more distressing. According to the PI's report, Chrissy had been using GPS tracking to monitor Mama Jones's whereabouts from a device she allegedly placed in Jim's car, the same vehicle Mama Jones occasionally borrowed, because Chrissy thought Mama Jones was attempting to turn Jim against her once more. And that was unacceptable at this point because people were going crazy. Every screenshot, timeline, and throwback interview was being examined in Reddit threads. A YouTube conspiracy channel with over 600K subscribers published a viral analysis titled "How Chrissy and Cam Orchestrated Jim Jones's Collapse with Receipts," which received 2.4 million views in just 48 hours. Even a former Dipset affiliate, Hell, re-threw shade in an Instagram live. All I can say is that Jim has been acting as though he is in a dark place, and someone has come to his aid. However, Jim has been silent, unreachable, and disconnected. According to sources, he has reportedly pulled back from studio sessions, missed brand calls, and was noticeably different, distant, and quiet. He also keeps checking his phone as if he were expecting a betrayal. Mama Jones, who never backs down, reportedly prepared a sit-down interview to clear the air, but just hours before the production company inexplicably removed the tape, and, according to rumors, Chrissy's legal team issued a cease and desist. The question now wasn't whether Chrissy and Cam destroyed Jim's life, but rather how far they were willing to go to keep it destroyed. This is precisely where things start to go into even darker territory, and now that the truth is out in the open and impossible to ignore, the question is no longer what happened, but how did we allow things to get this bad? How did a rapper's legacy, a mother's love, and 20 years of devotion and sacrifice get destroyed? Not by the industry or the streets, but by two people who profess to love him most. By deliberate betrayal, ego, retaliation, or something darker. A slow, silent manipulation that tore Jim apart from the inside out while everyone else double-tapped and scrolled the screen. Collapse Mama Jones didn't keep silent for attention or clicks. She spoke up because her kid was drifting away from her and from himself. Now that you know the truth, what will you do with this information? Comment with your thoughts. Do you still believe that Chrissy and Camron were misunderstood, or are you on Mama's side? Click like if you're as surprised as we are, and subscribe if you want more. We don't just spill tea here, we spill the whole damn pot. This was only one chapter in a much darker story, and believe me, it's far from over. Stay tuned because the next bombshell could completely alter everything. Jaw-dropping exposes celebrity betrayals and messy truths they don't want you to hear.